The library at Lockwood College stood, an imposing structure of stone and history. Bathed in the pale glow of the moon, it was eerily quiet, almost as if the building itself was holding its breath. Inside, 5 students remained, their faces illuminated by the soft bluish light of their laptop screens. They were engrossed in their work, the silence only broken by the occasional rustle of paper or the tapping of keys. The air hung heavy with the smell of old books and nervous energy. The musty scent of aged paper mixed with the faint aroma of coffee, a testament to their long hours of study. They were used to late-night study sessions, the kind that stretched into the early hours of the morning, but tonight something felt different. An uneasy feeling settled over them, a sense of foreboding that they couldn't quite shake off. It was as if the shadows in the corners of the room were watching them. A chill snaked through the room, raising goosebumps on their arms. The temperature seemed to drop suddenly, making them shiver despite the layers of clothing they wore. The silence was broken by the creak of a floorboard, a sound that echoed through the vast empty space. It was a noise that didn't belong, a disruption in the stillness. They all looked up, their hearts pounding in unison. Eyes wide with fear, they scanned the room, searching for the source of the sound. The library, once a place of knowledge and refuge, now felt like a trap. The old grandfather clock in the corner chimed 12 times, each clang echoing through the silent room like a haunting melody. The sound was almost hypnotic, drawing everyone's attention to the ancient timepiece. Each clang resonating like a death knell, sending shivers down the spines of those present. The room seemed to grow darker with each passing second. As the last chime faded, a cold wind slammed against the windows, rattling them violently. Papers flew everywhere, caught in the sudden gust, creating a chaotic whirlwind of pages. The students gasped, clinging to each other in terror. Their eyes darted around the room, searching for the source of the disturbance, but finding only shadows and darkness. The once familiar library had transformed into a sinister trap. The warm, inviting atmosphere was replaced by an eerie, foreboding presence that seemed to lurk in every corner. Shadows danced menacingly on the bookcases, their movements almost alive as if they were watching and waiting. The flickering lights cast eerie shapes that seemed to move on their own. The temperature plummeted, and the air grew thick with the feeling of unseen eyes. Every breath was visible in the cold, and the sense of being watched was overwhelming, making the students feel trapped and helpless. Then came the rattling. It started faintly, then grew louder, echoing through the silent library. It was coming from the old lockers, their metal doors vibrating violently. Legend had it that Lockwood College was built on the grounds of an asylum. Whispers of tortured souls and horrific experiments haunted the halls. The students had always dismissed them as spooky stories, but now, fear gnawed at their courage. Section 4. The investigation begins. They couldn't ignore the signs any longer. Something was terribly wrong. Driven by a mixture of fear and adrenaline, they decided to investigate. They crept through the darkened corridors, each step echoing in the oppressive silence. The rattling led them to the basement, a place shrouded in darkness and whispered rumors. Section 5. Racing against time. The air in the basement was heavy and cold. It felt as if the very walls were closing in on them, the dampness seeping into their bones. Every breath they took was visible in the frigid air, adding to the eerie atmosphere that surrounded them. The students' flashlights flickered, casting long, dancing shadows on the damp walls. The beams of light seemed to struggle against the darkness, barely illuminating the path ahead. Each step they took echoed through the basement, amplifying their sense of dread. Suddenly a figure appeared before them. It materialized out of the shadows, almost as if it had been waiting for them all along. The students froze, their hearts pounding in their chests, pale and gaunt, with eyes that burned with a cold light. The figure's presence was both terrifying and mesmerizing, drawing the students' gaze despite their fear. It was a young woman, dressed in a tattered hospital gown. Her appearance was haunting, a stark reminder of the tragedies that had unfolded within these walls. She reached out, her voice a mournful whisper, begging them to break the curse that bound her to the college. Her sorrowful face conveyed a deep sense of desperation and longing, as if she had been trapped in this state for an eternity. They had stumbled upon a darkness more profound than they could have imagined. The basement was not just a physical space, but a realm where the past and present collided, where the living and the dead coexisted in a fragile balance. With each passing moment, the line between the living and the dead blurred. The students could feel the weight of the spirit's presence, their whispers growing louder, their touch colder. The students were racing against time, desperate to uncover the truth and break the curse, but the ghosts of Lockwood were relentless. Every clue they found seemed to lead to more questions, and the spirits grew more agitated with each passing second. The sense of urgency was palpable as they realized that their time was running out.